Hello, it's February and this is the perfect time to plant bare root trees and shrubs. Bare root is the way that plants always used to be sold before the days of garden centres where everything's generally sold in containers. But in the olden days the trees and shrubs were grown in fields, lifted in the quiet dormant months between November and February, March time. And you can still buy plants this way, and it's a very good way to plant deciduous trees and shrubs. Roses are very typically sold this way, and today I'm going to be planting a lovely David Austin rose Margaret Merrill, which is a beautiful blush creamy pink, very floriferous, repeat flowering through the summer and very highly scented, and we're going to be putting it in this container. The thing about bare root is this is what it'll look like when it comes to you in the post or from the garden centre. Give it at least 2 hours to rehydrate. They don't have to be planted the day they arrive with you, but you do have to keep the roots moist, so either leave it in the packaging, keep it in a cool place, and then when you're ready, at least 2 hours before you're planting, stick it in a bucket of water and let the roots get fully rehydrated. Now, this is going to be in my container for quite a long time, maybe even 1, 2 or 3 years. So a soil-based medium, such as the John Innes, we've got SylvaGrow John Innes No. 3. This is the strongest within the John Innes range, strongest from the point of view of the amount of fertiliser. John Innes No. 1 for young plants, No. 2 for potting on medium-sized plants, and No. 3 for something that's going to be in the pot for a good long time. With the soil-based compost, it can't be just pure soil, because that would get very compacted in the pot, and remembering that roots need air as much as they need moisture. So in here we've got a lovely mixture of sterilised loam and some of our wood fibre bark, composted wood fibre and bark, in order to just stop that soil getting too compacted. So we've got that good air-water balance, and we've got a nice amount of fertiliser in here. So a pot with very good drainage as always, and fill the pot, just put a small amount in the bottom, because it's fairly important with a bare root plant that the soil, the top of the compost is where the soil was. In the case of a rose, we have a graft point. The rose variety has been grafted onto a different rootstock, and it's important that that graft is not above the surface of the soil, otherwise everything can rock too much, and it's just generally accepted that that graft should be just below the level. So what we're going to do is fill, this compost is, as you can see, it's very free-flowing, so it's going to fill around those roots and keep them nice and separated from each other. Just going to do this and fill it up like this. So, as I say, that graft point. All sorts of trees and shrubs can be sold in bare root form, and it really is a very good way, sometimes a little bit cheaper, not always, but it's a very good way to plant trees and shrubs in the winter months, and they can, once they come out of dormancy in the spring, they will get off to a good start in their new medium. So there's no having to adapt from whatever they were grown in to your soil. You can also use bare root very much so in planting out in the garden as well, so it's not just for containers. Now you can see that there is a little bit of rock there. Give it a good amount of consolidation. I'm just going to fill that round so that the graft point in this case, and of course many trees and shrubs aren't grafted, so you don't have that to worry about. Now what I might be tempted to do is cover this with some grit, so or coarse gravel, so that makes it look a bit more attractive. A good watering, and then a nice sunny spot, and that'll be a lovely show from the spring onwards, and then in the summer the flowers will come, and of course you have to supplementary feed. There's only enough feed in this product to keep it going for the first few weeks. So once the plant gets into leaf, start to feed regularly on about a monthly basis. The other thing you can do in this situation is, bearing in mind the bare root season goes from about November to about March. If you're doing this before Christmas, pop some bulbs in. Crocuses, little miniature daffodils would look very nice. Or at this time of year you could pop some violas in, anything to make it look pretty until this top growth gets going. But that's a lovely thing to do, a very nice addition to the garden.